Hello, my name is Carmel. I'd like to share with you some experiences on addiction. I grew up in a family, my father drank a lot, my mother got angry a lot. There was a lot of fighting that went on, but when you grow up in that atmosphere, it seems like normal, it's familiar. So when I left Australia, went to Hong Kong, guess who I attracted? An alcoholic. Because that was familiar. That was just like Dad. And so I was married 15 years, and to watch somebody killing themselves is really very, very painful. And you just feel totally helpless. You just want to fix it, you want to stop it, you want them to change. But what I didn't realize, there was a deeply embedded pattern in me that I was like the codependent trying to stop him drinking. And anyway, he did actually die of sclerosis of the liver. And then I had my two oldest children were heroin addicts. So I found myself in the same position, even though I was conscious then that that was a pattern. So I married my husband, who didn't really drink very much at all, and I was in the middle of a war zone with my two children. I was going to save them, and it was like it came from my solar plexus, like raw emotion of, I have to save them, they're my children. And I always carried a picture of they're like 2 years old, and I'm their mother, so it's my job. I have to save them, I have to fix it, I have to make everything okay. I had to try and control the situation, was what I was really doing. And this continued on and on for a long many years, until I finally reached the conclusion that they were adults and I couldn't fix it. I couldn't control them. It wasn't my job to do that. Their life was their life. So I had to let them go. But that was a whole new pattern for me. Instead of taking care of them, taking care of clients, I had to take care of myself. How do you do that? But gradually, I really just prayed for help. And I was so desperate. When my daughter went missing in San Francisco, a year had gone by, and I prayed and prayed, please God, help me. Every time the phone rang, I thought it was the morgue phoning up saying she was dead, and my mind got carried away at this great loss and tragedy. And one day the phone rang, and he said he was a policeman, and he had found my daughter. And I said, oh, well, thank you so much. He gave me the address, and I was ready to go. And he phoned up and says, well, I will meet you at the police station and I will go with you. And I met him, and we went to see my daughter, and there she was in a room, very dark room, and she was just like 98 pounds. And he said, if there's anyone that you would like to see, who would it be? She immediately says, oh no, not my mother. She really didn't want me to see her like that. And I zoomed in like Brunhilde, I'm here to save you. I mean, it was like a comedy. Anyway, she came with me and the policeman, and we had a coffee. She wouldn't listen to anything I had to say about getting help, or I was just devastated out of my mind. But the policeman said to her, your father was a policeman, and on my beat, he pointed out some of the girls and said, how long do you think they would have to live? And she said, a few months. He said, well, your mother's standing right here, ready to help you. If you did get help, I knew by then I couldn't make her go into a rehab or anything like that. He said that would really make my life worthwhile. she really listened to that because her father was a policeman and something rang true for her. So the next day she said, and she agreed to go into a rehab where she got help. And we tried to find that policeman. We phoned the police station, we had his name. No such policeman ever existed. We tried to find him, but he did not exist. And I know for sure he was really an angel dressed as a policeman, because that's who she would listen to, and that really elevated him and did help him. So life is just totally full of miracles. And she went into that rehab, but went back onto drugs again, and so we had a long history of this repeating until I finally got the message that it was her life, it wasn't my job. She was a grown woman, and I'm a slow learner, what can I say? But we finally got there, and now she's an amazing therapist at a rehabilitation center in Europe, and she has a child, and she totally turned her life around after years of being a heroin addict. So there's hope for everybody. There's hope for mothers, there's hope for daughters and sons, and I see so much pain around addiction. And one man came to see me, and he'd never told a soul. His son was in jail. He was a lord. He'd never told anybody, and he was having heart problems. I wonder why. So nobody is bad. I was running away as much as my son and daughter were running away. I shopped. I had an addiction. I had a drink, and they just went in a different direction. So we were both running away until now we don't. We talk, we discuss things, and we can actually communicate and laugh about some of the silly situations we got ourselves into. So addiction is a pattern. I see people in jail. Nobody is bad. God doesn't love a good person and not like a bad person, so-called, because we have judgment on what's good and what's bad. And I was so afraid of addiction and afraid of her dying. I thought it was bad and had a lot of judgment. But actually that whole experience enabled us to open our hearts. I certainly learned a lot more compassion, and I had to really look at myself and where I'd got rigid and wanted to control everybody and manipulate everybody. I was really good at it. And so now I think from my childhood that was learning very unhealthy ways of being. And now by opening our hearts, by communicating, by loving ourselves more, I think we're able to communicate and grow, and she's certainly helping so many people. It's just wonderful to see. So out of a story that a lot of people would say was tragic and bad, I think we have so much, we've gained so much it's just so much wealth, a treasury of memories and a treasury of experiences that I certainly wouldn't have gone on that journey. And so who can say addiction is good or bad, or anyone's good or bad? We all just are, and we're all finding our way. We're all opening up to new experiences, and nobody's better or worse than anyone. And it doesn't matter where you were born, what you've done. Things can change. I've seen miracles happen just like in 5 seconds when people get that they can actually love themselves and feel lovable and worthy. Things change for them and everybody they know. It's like a ripple effect. And certainly with me, all my life I felt I was unworthy and unlovable. And now I really know I'm lovable and worthy. And it makes such a huge difference to everyone in my life. So I would just encourage everyone, drop the judgment, drop the fear, and work on your energy to open your heart to love and compassion. We're all just travelers on the same journey, and it's really a journey to love and wholeness. So once you reach there, it's beautifully sweet and really wonderful. I carried a lot of bitterness in my pancreas, and I was having a session one day, and my pancreas was just red hot as I released all this energy of life is bitter, life is tough, life is hard. And it just freed that up. I'm sure I would have got pancreatic cancer. And now it's really, really sweet. So I would love you to have a sweet and loving life too. So let's do that.